no matter what, I want you to still hold the strong belief that you are capable of creating what you want. Regardless of the imposter syndrome, you're more powerful than that. Regardless of any other limiting belief that you may have, you're more powerful than that. What's up, what's going on? My name is Sabrina and welcome back to the channel. Here in the Better You space, we teach creatives, dreamers, and entrepreneurs how to make their daydreams into their real daily lives. And in today's video, I'm going to make a part 2 talking about imposter syndrome and how to move through it when it feels kind of impossible for it to go away. If you like what you hear today, please give this video a thumbs up to help with the channel. Subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified every time I post a new video if you like this kind of content. If you're looking for a deeper transformation, feel free to check out our signature program, Unleash Your Life, or our one-on-one mentorship packages. The links for those will be left in the description below. And with that being said, let's get into it. So I made a part 1 talking about imposter syndrome and why I never really experience it anymore last week. But then as I was editing it and putting it up, I was like, you know what? I feel called to share another perspective I have on imposter syndrome. And this may sound even contradicting to my first video, but also it just goes to show the duality that we can hold. Now, one of my clients recently mentioned to me that she went to this sermon and they were talking about something along the lines of none of God's disciples, and I feel like I'm going to mess this up, but it's the main concept that I'm getting across. It was like the people that God chose to be disciples, none of them felt worthy. And I feel like a lot of times this feeling of imposter syndrome is low-key this humbling initiation into our mission, into what we're meant to be doing, of having this feeling of questioning our capabilities and skills. But I also, despite me also feeling like I never really get imposter syndrome anymore, I also feel like the signs of imposter syndrome are in fact a good thing because it shows that you're evolving. One, if you get imposter syndrome, it must mean that you're in a new room, that you're doing new things, that you're evolving on some level, on some aspect of that. So that is amazing. And also, it shows that you want to be great at what you do. Nobody wants to be naive and cocky and to actually suck at something and to just have this false perception that they're good, right? We want to actually be great at what we do. And questioning yourself is like, in a way, a good skill to have. It's to make sure that you're on top of things. It's to make sure that you can execute the job successfully. And just because you feel imposter syndrome does not mean that you cannot excel in what you do. It is whether or not you let the thoughts and emotions that come up with imposter syndrome affect your course of action. Now, if this is you, are you going to let these doubts and worries stop you from putting yourself out there? Or are you able to notice the thoughts and still continue to take action in accordance to your dreams and your goals? And I posted something on Instagram a while ago, which if you don't follow me on Instagram, you should, just because it's like extra goodness. But I made a post about how you don't need to get rid of your limiting beliefs in order to create the life of your dreams. Like, yes, moving through limiting beliefs is a tool to massively help you in that. But by no means do you need to have a quote unquote perfect mindset in order to create what you want, in order to manifest what you want. And this is the same that goes for imposter syndrome. Like, just because you have doubts and worries and fears that come up does not mean that you're not going to get where you want to go. Does not mean that it's going to necessarily get in the way of your manifestation. Every single person here on earth is human and experiences doubts and worries and fears at some point. No one is ever going to have this whatever perception of this perfect mindset, right? People who have built like 6, 7, 8-figure businesses, they admit that they have felt imposter syndrome many times along the way. The trick is not letting it define your actions and not letting your thoughts define you. Generally speaking, and I'm talking about like everything at this point, your thoughts genuinely mean nothing about you. You are not your thoughts. When you think about it, okay, they've said that we have about 50,000 to 70,000 thoughts per day. Most of our thoughts are on autoplay from the past days. Most of these thoughts haven't even stemmed from ourselves. They've stemmed from family members that might project their limiting beliefs. It stems from what we pick up on from movies and shows and songs and media. It stems from the gossipy girl group at work that we just overhear, and our subconscious mind is just picking up on these words. Like, when you understand that so many of the thoughts that exist in your mind literally mean nothing about you, they're just a product of your environment, unfortunately. And unfortunately, a lot of people in this world do think on the little more pessimistic side. So there are much more doubts and fears and worries in the collective around us in our environment. And so when you think about that, I want you to just create a separation between you and the thoughts that are in your mind. I want you to really just observe your thoughts, just notice them from like a neutral place, from almost like an outside perspective. Just notice what's popping up and question your thoughts, investigate them. Literally think to yourself, that's interesting that I'm thinking these thoughts. Literally write down in a journal what your thoughts are saying so you can see it out on paper and you can be like, oh, like this is really what's going on in my mind, and question it, investigate it. Understand that your thoughts are not you, and many of your thoughts have not stemmed from you, and your thoughts don't need to have any kind of definition towards you. You decide who you are from a conscious and grounded place. Any thoughts that differ from that, did not come from your higher self. And most likely it's just a product of something that you've heard in your environment, which also is why I mentioned in the last video, I feel like it's our nature, our innate natural self to tune into our higher selves, to be connected with our higher selves much more often than we commonly are right now. And I believe that we are meant to have so much more confidence in ourselves to see our innate gifts and light and values. I don't think it's natural for so many of us to view ourselves in this lower light, to have such disbelief in ourselves and our capabilities. But I truly feel like there is this collective consciousness of doubting ourselves, of the fears, of the worries, simply because of our environment. And it just is what it is where we're at right now. Like, that's okay. We just need to know how to work through it. And this is why I will always highly recommend silent meditation too, because in doing silent meditation, it isn't about just completely clearing your mind and thinking about nothing at all. It's more so about noticing and observing the thoughts that come up from that neutral place. Because in our everyday lives, when we have a thought, our mind kind of just assumes that it's true. Then we feel correlated emotions to the thought, and then we're just like almost like a victim to our thoughts. Like, our thoughts kind of like drive the show. Meanwhile, in silent meditation, it's like you become the conscious driver of your mind and your body. And you're able to not be a victim to the crazy thoughts that come in your head, because sometimes we have the craziest thoughts and then we get all confused and feel all anxious and question ourselves. Meanwhile, our thoughts literally mean nothing about us. And at the end of the day, if you still feel like you can't get rid of this imposter syndrome, I want you to know that that's okay. Like, you don't need to be whatever perception of perfect is in order to still do what you want to do, create your dream life, achieve your goals that you want to achieve. No matter what, I want you to still hold the strong belief that you are capable of creating what you want. Regardless of the imposter syndrome, regardless of still having those thoughts in your mind, you're more powerful than that. Regardless of any other limiting belief that you may have, you're more powerful than that. You don't need to work through every single limiting belief and negative feeling and negative thought in order to get to where you want to go. It's noticing the stuff, observing it, having the awareness, and then choosing to take the aligned action that is still in alignment with where you want to go. Your mind can be saying shit all day, but as long as you are continuing to move forward, you're continuing to move forward and honestly taking the action steps that are aligned with your dream goal anyway, even though you feel fear, even though your hands are shaking, even though you're doubting yourself and you're like, I still don't know if I'm capable of doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway because I have faith that I'm meant to be doing this. I feel called to do this. I know my desires are my destiny. And you continue to do that anyway. Those action steps solidify the new positive beliefs in yourself. But you need to be able to separate yourself from those contradicting thoughts. Because in terms of manifestation, I feel like it can be easy to think that you need to have all the positive thoughts and to have all the positive beliefs in order to manifest what you want, which of course that helps to be in alignment with it. But I have manifested some really amazing, incredible things in my life while being really depressed, like going through a breakup, really doubtful, really anxious, being in low states, while also manifesting some really cool shit. Like, you don't need to be perfect, and it's okay if you have this imposter syndrome. So I wanted to say this too, in case my first video made anyone think that they needed to get rid of their imposter syndrome if it feels hard to let go of. All you need to do is make sure that the imposter syndrome is not affecting your action steps, that you continue to take one small step after one small step after one small step. Keep moving forward. So if this video was helpful for you at all, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your feedback. Again, give the video a thumbs up. Send this to anyone you feel may need to hear it. If you're interested in our signature program or in one-on-one mentorship, check out those links below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.